Here's Brody Brazil.
So big league weekend took place for the A's across the last several days in Las Vegas, technically Summerlin, as they hosted a pair of Cactus League games against the Milwaukee Brewers. Now, because of the timing and their last trip down to Southern Nevada was about a year ago, so much has happened since. The approval of public funding for a ballpark at the site of the Tropicana Hotel, in addition to Major League Baseball back in November approving the A's relocation to Las Vegas. Because of those things and the buildup and the anticipation, a lot of people thought this weekend and these two games and the A's appearance in Nevada, it would be some big deal or splash, or it would change somebody's mind or opinion. In reverse, as I kind of had the instinct and maybe even advised this, don't read too much into any one thing or another. I mean, now removed from these several days, did anything change? Not necessarily one way or the other. I think everything remains kind of how it always has been. And a lot of people were so focused on attendance and what would the support look like. I mean, definitely the place was not empty, but definitely the place was not full. There's tons of videos and pictures to go along and support all that. One thing, though, we did take away from the weekend was public commentary and some things that were published in the San Francisco Chronicle as Susan Slusser kind of worked the crowd a little bit to feel their opinion on the situation and who was actually at these games. Now, there was a little bit of backlash towards the publication and the author here, but I don't feel that way at all. In fact, I appreciate them for shining light on this and maybe some misunderstandings that still exist for fans that were actually at these games. I'll begin here with a quote from Dane Brooks, who lives in Southern Nevada, but originally is from San Mateo, who said, quote, "My dad took me to opening day at the Coliseum in 1968. I've been a fan since I was 7 years old, and I had season tickets for the Dynasty in the late 80s. But you know how expensive it is in the Bay Area. I moved here 20 years ago, and I fell on my knees when their Triple-A team moved here. Now the big league team? It's just amazing. I know A's fans feel very betrayed. My brother still lives there. I know it's very hard for them." Well, I appreciate Dane's honesty at the very end in at least understanding the situation, how it's been, maybe how it's gone. If you're searching for a large demographic of former Bay Area residents that have since also moved to Southern Nevada to support this team, there are some. Dane's a perfect example of that. But are there really enough to support entirely a Major League Baseball team? I suppose, as I've used this reference before, if you're looking for a fan of classical music, you go to the Symphony. And this is exactly the type of fan you would figure to find at an exhibition game at Las Vegas Ballpark. Okay, this was from the newspaper. Here is something we saw on television.
Having more sports teams here in Vegas, I think, is great for Vegas itself, and it gives, families more options on what to do that, don't involve going down on the Strip.
Now, I'm not sure if Pamela Day right there either misspoke or is entirely misinformed, because obviously the A's have never pondered relocating permanently to Summerlin for that Las Vegas ballpark. Their plans are obviously for the Strip and the site of the Tropicana Hotel. There have been other considerations. The first Wild Wild West site, that was not on the Strip. The Rio Hotel site, that's obviously not on the Strip, but it does bring up a bit of a concern and a topic among locals between family issues and just getting to the Strip. How easy or difficult is it actually as a resident to go where the tourists are? So that's interesting. Again, I don't know if it was a slip. Some people just get nervous on television, or like I said, they misspeak. But in this case, I mean, let's hope that she actually knows what's happening here. Back to the quotes from the San Francisco Chronicle. Talene Swager, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, is originally from Oakland. Talene says they deserve better than what they have now. Talking about the new renderings, it's pretty extravagant, but they need a change, and then hopefully the owner will start to spend some money. I hope they do it. I'm excited, and I think once they move here, they'll have a bigger fan base. We go to the games in Oakland, and there's no one there. It's kind of sad. I'll point out 3 different things here. In terms of spending more money, that remains to be seen. Might happen, might not happen. But it's going to be expensive, to the tune of about $1 billion every decade for the A's to just get back to a median level of player spending. Last year, for example, they were about $100 million shy of the average Major League Baseball team salary. And so just to get back to that median level is about $100 million of a gap every single year. It's quick and easy math. 100 times 10 in terms of a decade, one additional, not total, $1 additional billion to field a competitive team. The other comment here about once they move here, they'll have a bigger fan base. Highly doubtful, just based on demographics alone, the size of Las Vegas, the size of Northern California, the history of the Bay Area, the recency of Las Vegas. And when the comment is made, we go to games in Oakland and there's no one there, it's kind of sad. Well, I think A's fans might tell you the attendance is intentional and not an effect of their interest. Preston Beeman Ramirez here has the quote saying, "Their stadium is not the best, so it'll be cool to see them going to someplace better where they can get better players. That new stadium looks so nice." The A's have had great players over the years. They've just decided not to keep them. I mean, right now, you could have Matt Chapman, Matt Olson, Marcus Semien, Sean Murphy, and so many other players. They were all turned over. The stadium itself is not going to bring you better players. And I think this is the last quote here. Somebody named Jason Giambi. Ever heard of him? Of course you have. The former A is now a Las Vegas resident. He says a couple different things here. Quote, "I feel terrible for them," which I appreciate him talking about the Oakland fan base. "But coming here will be a good thing for the franchise. They'll have a bigger payroll. They'll be able to compete. They'll just be better here. And I hope that true A's fans will keep following them." Let me stop right there for a second. I think that's been a perspective outside of the Bay Area in some markets, and maybe even from a national viewpoint, that there are true A's fans in Oakland, that it doesn't matter where they play. I haven't found them. And being a part of this region, being a citizen of the community, I'm not sure if any exist. I don't mean a small fraction. I'm saying I'm not sure if any in Oakland actually exist who would follow this team no matter where they go, considering how all of this has played out. A new park in Oakland would be beautiful, but where would you put it? Now, wait a second. That's not real, right? I mean, the A's own, or about to own, half of the Coliseum land. There's about 100 plus acres there. There's also Howard Terminal, 65 acres, completely approved, ready to go, waiting for the agreements. You've got a motivated city of Oakland, county of Alameda. Where would you put it? I mean, there's not just one, there's two locations here, and one of them the A's own half the land already. It's shovel ready, like literally tomorrow. There are so many factors, and it just hasn't worked out there. And things just get done here. Vegas makes things happen. I don't disagree with that. But in recent times, Vegas is making a lot of things happen, like Formula One, for example, which I don't know that over time has turned to be and proven to be a prudent decision. A lot of times you say yes to anything. Do you want that extra piece of cake? Yes. Do you want 5 extra pieces of cake beyond that? Yes, I do. Of course you do. You're hungry and it looks good. And then how do you feel in 10 to 15 years? I don't know that yet. Time will tell. But there's a lot of approvals and a lot of expansion happening in this market, which, as we know, says yes and does get things done, but is untested over the long term. And so it's interesting, right? Out of everything that came out of Big League Weekend, we didn't really have a player quote that stood out or any other like earth-moving type situation, but there were those quotes, and there was that article which did seem to receive a lot of kickback, and I just wanted to go over some things that were said in Las Vegas and appreciate and understand the perspective. That's how some people feel. Whether they're completely informed or not, understand the history or not, that is part of the overall situation and equation. You made it here to the end of the video. You know I appreciate that. Thumbs up down below. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the channel so I can definitely see you back here next time.